live on your page, Jacob?
Thanks for tapping in with 95 South TV, hosted by Icon Ian King J, bringing you the best news and media through the efforts of the community. We interview nonprofit organizations, business owners, school teachers, spiritual leaders, and anybody who has an impact in the community that has a remarkable backstory. These professionals that we bring on this show has a story that will wow you, that will knock your socks off. And with that being said, we want you to tune in, keep it locked. We want you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Be a dedicated listener. Come in, and if you require to do an interview, you can definitely reach out to us at 95southpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for your ongoing.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Connie. And once again, we are here on 95 South TV. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity because without him, there will be no us. For next, I want to introduce my right hand man, your baby mama favorite host, Barry White Jr. himself, Jacob the Great. What's going on, brother? Okay, you there, Jacob? Well, maybe he having some difficulty. So we gonna go ahead and introduce this young lady until Jacob get back on or whatever. I think he was in the back. Okay, if he coming on, jumping back on now. I don't know what happened. Okay, you there? Okay, you there, brother? Jacob, you there? I don't know what's going on his end. So we're gonna go ahead and introduce this young lady. So basically, I'm gonna really let you introduce yourself. I know you're an entrepreneur, businesswoman, coach, mentor. You do a lot of you got your hands in a lot of pot. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want to go ahead and let you introduce yourself, kind of let people know who you are, and we get this interview started until Jacob jumps back on.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Coach Javi. I am fortunate enough and blessed enough to have had an opportunity to start and flow with different revenue streams. My most prideful one is being able to help serve mothers. First and foremost, I give an honor to God. So my name is Coach Javi. I own a few businesses, but right now the one that is most heaviest and most influential in my life is my birth doula business. I'm a life coach during the day, and I am a birth doula at night. Gratefully, I own an event decor business and also have been able to co-partner with the logistics company with my husband and just be able to flow and teach and help people understand the ins and outs of entrepreneurship and what it actually takes. Just something bigger than that word, just not attaching it to yourself just to have it. So I'm grateful. And that's the gist of me in a nutshell. The professional side of it, the personal side, I'm a beautiful mother. I have 11 beautiful children. And I'm also a grandmother. I love to serve. I live to serve. And I'm grateful to be here.
Okay. Jacob, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go ahead and jump in and I'll jump back in after you.
So, Coach Javi, let's talk about where the entrepreneurship started for you and why was it so important to you to get into that space?
So when I started out as an entrepreneur, my first official business was Lifey's virtual assistant. I became a VA for small business owners and for CEOs. And how that transition happened, I was the CEO for a multi-billion-dollar company. Got to a place where I was in my church. My pastor is a huge, he was really, really heavy on entrepreneurship, just teaching how to take what you have, find a need, and then fill that void for whatever gift that you have. I happen to be very, very gifted in the world of admin and research. I love everything research. And so what I did was I took all my skills and I packaged them up to offer them to small business owners to basically help them what they would pay someone to 12 to 30 to 40 hours to do. I could package that into a smaller package and then offer the basics and the fundamentals to help them flow effortlessly as they were building their business. Um, that rolled into everything else that I did after that. The next thing was Javi's Chair, which is a coaching company. I did do career, personal development, and business, but now it's just strictly personal because I believe you gotta live your life from the inside out. And then in the midst of that, I was fortunate enough to become a grandmother. And when I found out that I had my first grandchild on the way, it made me get into doula work, and that allowed me to birth an additional business alongside my event decor and event rental business. And so as I got into that, it just helped me tap into more of my passion for helping young mothers, young women who just don't have the support or may be fearful in this journey of labor and delivery and prenatal. So all of those things flowed from within me. Nothing I just attached to just to do it. And so that has been a wonderful and beautiful journey in itself. And I'm excited about the future as well.
Okay, okay. So that's a whole lot to unpack, you know. Um, so kudos to you. So you say it's more you did the business development, the business strategy, and building strategic plans for business owners and things of that nature.
Yes.
Um, and so before we get into the personal side of it, building those business and coming up with those strategies for business owners or people who are inspiring to be entrepreneurs and whatnot. What was that process for you, and how did that look for you trying to shake their minds around them having their own business and putting the hours in as what they would put in going into somebody else's job?
So, oftentimes, those who reached out to me were oftentimes limited with just fear. The biggest reason why people don't go forth is fear. And the reason that there's fear is because it's just the unknown. So, when someone would sit down with me and say, hey, this is what I have a passion to do, not everyone walked away saying, okay, I'm going to go start this business. Sometimes they were jumping off into the deep and they would be falling into just something that is just too heavily the market is too heavy. And so it would take more marketing, more strategy to build that business. So, what the first thing I would do is we would just look at the business plan. And if you didn't have a business plan, that's where we would have to start. What I would tell, and I still encourage everyone to do, is you have to do like market research, figure out what it's going to take to reach your target audience, what it's going to take to meet your bottom line, then what are you going to have, what is you going to be your average net profit, net loss, and then we're going to do a SWOT analysis, what can actually become a threat to you growing in that area. So anytime that I met with someone and they said, hey, I want to go open a t-shirt business, or I want to start doing this, I want to start selling these things, the next thing will be, it's okay, who do you want to sell to? What type of money do they spend? What type of job? People don't think about those things. They just think, oh, I'm going to come up with this beautiful logo. And I went and I had a great time at a vendor fair and I know that this is going to take off. And that does not, it's not sustainable. And so we just have to work our way backwards. I always sit down with every client and say, okay, let's work backwards. And when we work backwards, I want to understand your why. I want to understand your passion. And we just have to break those down step by step.
So we're breaking that down step by step. So in the beginning, when you meet with them, because it's mostly with the idea with people. So how do you break down whether they should have a LLC, whether they should have a S corp or C corp, or whether they should have an incorporation? So what are the levels of you breaking down that based on the idea they give you, and based on what they want to do?
We would talk about how they plan on filing their income. S corp is great if you're going to be bringing in anywhere above 75 to $100,000 your first year. So why do you actually want to file this way? LLC, a lot of times people do it and they rear on that side because they feel like, hey, can't no one sue me for my personal assets? Well, actually, if you file LLC, it actually makes it a little bit harder for you to actually get funding because LLC is what they call to save. So when we start looking into what C corp, filing as a C corp, it is a bigger It's you're unprotected in a sense, but it actually shows that you're serious about what you want to do. It shows that you have a deeper commitment. So we actually break down what is an LLC. It is the easiest thing to go online and get. And I believe that if you want to start out safe and just see how this thing flows, file with an LLC. S corp is all about your where your finances will hit and how do you want to protect yourself. And so is C corp. So it just all depends on how you want to structure that business and the type of business that you have. And then also, everything doesn't require certain filings. And so we would have to look at, okay, where are you going? What's your intent? How big do you want this to be? And then the next step is what I tell everyone is go talk to an accountant. You always talk to an accountant first, and then you file. You can book an accountant for anywhere between $50 to $150 an hour, and you can sit down and discuss with them what that looks like, and they'll tell you exactly what they would recommend. They're not going to tell you what to do, but they would tell you what they recommend. After they do that, then we go ahead and move forward with filing.
Okay. So with building the structure, building the business, the mission statement, the business plan, and helping your clients understand how the marketing strategy and what brand management means. Um, how long does it take for them to process on they are a brand now? So I tell people not only is your company a brand, but you as a entity, a person is a brand as well.
Hmm.
So with getting them to understand that process and that level of business, you know, um, how hard has that process been for you?
It's hard. Most of my clients end up going through my coaching program because of it. What people don't understand is social responsibility, and what I talk about that, I talk about how you show up forward facing on social media. We are too much of an emotional generation. Our culture sometimes can reflect a little bit too much emotionalism in the world of actually wanting to obtain the clients that would actually help you not hustle as hard. So if you can close six $10,000 deals as opposed to hustling for $61,000 clients, then you want to market yourself and position yourself to target that and start with the groundwork so that you can get that. The challenge is that oftentimes people's mindset don't change. They are doing it for the wrong reasons. There really isn't a passion in every decision when people start working business. There doesn't have to be passion when you decide to open a business. You just have to also understand the discipline that is required to position yourself as a business owner. Can't be on social media cursing people out. You can't respond to every rebuttal with an emotional rebuttal. You can't screenshot um, a disagreement from a client and go on social media so that your friends that know you and who can tell you that you have a good heart, that's bad for business. It's actually limiting. And what people don't understand is that, hey, I make 75,000, I make $100,000 a year, so I'm good. So this really isn't a threat to me. But you're not thinking about legacy. You're not thinking about impact. You're not thinking about how big do I want this to grow, or do I want this to stay mom and pop? Do I want this to stay where I'm having to work 16 to 25 hours a day just to make sure that I can sit back and say that I made that, as opposed to saying, hey, let's give an example. If you provide food, if you're a catering company, you can get these smaller clients because you have such a great following on social media and your friends can recommend you. But if you're doing a booking every weekend and you're overworked and tired and you don't have the business plan on how to expand and begin to trust people with your business, you don't know how to scale, make food items that would pull more from your residual, less from your residual, then guess what? You're going to be overworking and wearing yourself down. So imagine doing this for 15 to 20 years. Your back is hurting, your knees are hurting, your hands are hurting, as opposed to saying, if I can secure 7 to 10, $6 to $10,000 budget contracts, I'm going to target the colleges, I'm going to target the universities, I'm going to do this, then you prepare for that. So it's all about how I position myself. But the hardest thing is to get people to change their mindset and their habits. The hardest thing is to get someone committing to doing something hard for an extended amount of time. That is the hardest thing. It's been the hardest thing since the beginning of time.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So with that being said, you brought up a valid point, and this stems to another question for you. So, um, you have your business clients, and then you have what we call your corporate clients. Being that you work for people who are millionaires and billion-dollar companies, and that corporate structure, when it comes to event planning. How much time has that taken you, and what is the process in planning a corporate event?
I don't do corporate events.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, I don't. I have a very close friend who is heavy in the event decor business. I have a strong passion for doing a party of 60 or less. And since everything else has kicked off, I haven't even been able to do an event in maybe 8 months. So I'm grateful for that. But I don't do corporate events. If at anything, it would be to provide centerpieces. But as far as just going in and decorating a full event, I don't. I don't like the wear and tear it has on my body. It is hard
Hmm.
to keep up with help, especially when there are such large gaps in between contracts. And I don't market for corporate events, so I wouldn't be able to sustain that help. I have a very close friend who is a leader in the upstate. She owns 4 event venues. She's very great at it, but that's not my passion. That's not my target at all. So
Okay, 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 okay. Enough said. Enough said. So we talking about the business, and before we get into the personal icon, I would like to go ahead and pass it over to you because you may have something you want to ask.
Well, I wanted to ask her something because she said something at the beginning, and I said, I know I cleaned my ears out today, so I'm gonna make sure I heard her correctly. Did you say you had how many kids?
I have 11.
That's what I thought you said. So I'm
Yeah.
like, this is amazing because you are inspiration, I know, for a lot of women because there's women out there who got 1 or 2 kids and have a hard time juggling life. And you doing it and you have a huge family, you know what I'm saying? So what's the challenges of being able to run all these businesses and still have to be able to take care of home?
Now that I've gotten older and I'm sitting with myself more, I you have to be willing to let some go. It's great if one can bring in $6,000 every 3, 4, 5 months, but you have to make a decision on what to scale and what to put more energy into. So, my mom just kind of raised some natural born hustlers. So we know how my problem is that I can look at anything and build a business strategy at it. I can tell you, oh, this is what you could do to make more money. This is what you can do to sell and get more contracts. It's just something that clicks and my brain works like that. Probably because I'm a mother of 11 children and I've learned how to do that. So, one of the hardest things is that, not for me, not in this season, I owned an event venue. I made a decision to close it because the location in which I opened it, I didn't know anybody, so it's hard for me to market or do. And now word of mouth helped me tremendously. I was grateful for it. But when I lived 2 hours away from it, thank you so much. I lived 2 hours away from it. Um, and it was hard to get someone there. So I was driving, trying to do it, and it just wasn't worth it. So I had to make a decision to close it, and I grieved it. So one of the things I think the hardest thing is that when you're looking at something and it's not adding value, it's pulling more from you than it actually is giving to you, even if that means you may be getting more money, but it's taking more energy, more time, more capacity. You got to make a decision to say, okay, I got to walk away from this. Um, Not be embarrassed by it, be proud of yourself because you took a chance at it, and it doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that, hey, I'm going in a different direction. So that in itself is one of the hardest things for small business owners, is you're trying to pour into something that's just no longer feeding you.
Okay, okay. So let me ask you this. When it comes to businesses themselves, talk about what's the top 5 businesses that if you do everything that you pretty much teach people to do, you go through the process. What's the top 5 businesses that are almost like a surefire businesses in today's economy?
Anything that has to do with technology or AI. If you go and teach yourself how to code, you teach yourself how to build, um, you can't fail in that. There will always graphic designers, anything that if you can build and or learn AI and learn how to do it so that you can offer that service. One reason is because people will always trust people. So if you can learn how to do it and you can show up as a person and say that I can offer this to you at a much more reasonable rate than all these big time marketing companies that are requesting 15 grand up front, you can't fail in the area. Drop shipping, if you learn how to build a website where you actually can sell product and it actually be shipped from the actual place, you can't fail in that. Um, the next one I would say is coaching. There will always be a need for connection. We were put on this earth for connection, so that will not replace AI. It will eventually become vain. And so, if you can take and package your skills and continue with personal and professional development, you can help someone else along the way. As long as there are institutions where there are actual teachers in classroom, there will be a need for coaches. Thirdly is accounting and bookkeeping. If you can master the art of numbers and market it correctly, as this world is evolving, we are understanding that there is going to be a need for more than one stream of income for most of the class. So we talking lower and middle class and then mid upper class. There's going to be a need for more than one stream of income. So if you can fill that need of people who are going to need bookkeepers, they're going to need somebody to sit down and say, this is what we're going to have to do to fix this. Keep me out of jail. Don't have people knocking on my door. Guess what? You can do that. And number 5, that's going to be a tough one because I'm really big on service-oriented jobs. But I would say this. You can still become great at what you do as an employee. People think that employees ain't making 6 figures and bonuses and loving their job. You can. So I don't want to take that out. I have to leave that in. You can still be really great and clocking in a 9 to 5 and having a lot less stress than entrepreneurs. So let's just add that as the number 5.
I would have, yeah, I would have thought you would have said certain levels of transportation. To be honest with you, I would have thought
Logistics
that.
is good, but logistics has become extremely competitive, and
Hmm.
insurance has become heavy for when you get out there. So here's the thing: you can go and buy a truck. We own trucks. You can go and become a truck driver. The insurance for a truck driver just starting out, especially if you are African American male, and you can actually call the insurance company and ask, insurance is going to be a lot higher unless you have top tier credit, and then that's still going to be high. Now, say for instance, you actually want to add someone under you, you still have to get with someone who has a business that has been authority that's been established over 2 years. And so
Hmm.
it's not that it's not possible. It's just if you want to do this for yourself, you got to be willing to be at that 60 to 65,000 income range until that first 2 years, and then you can start bidding a little bit higher for those contracts without killing your body. So
Hmm.
everything that I talk about is without killing your body. Now, if you want to
Gotcha.
run back and forth and never be home, and you want to sleep in a truck and not eat well and not go to the gym, you might can be out here and say I'm making all of this, but at what cost?
Gotcha. So what's the top 5 worst businesses you can get into?
Oh, I can't. That's not my place. To each his
You
own.
said,
Because when
oh,
because when God says yes, nobody can say no. So that ain't my place. That ain't my call.
okay. So, when you're dealing with people, as far as when you said getting people to basically to kind of, you know, uh, believe in themselves and push forward, has it been moments where you got so frustrated that you just had to walk away from certain people just because they just didn't want to put the time and the effort that it took to try to build their business?
No, they walk away from me.
Oh, so you'd be like a bulldog on the end.
No, we just go. The biggest question is, what's your why? Like,
Gotcha.
what's your why? And sometimes that takes some introspection. Oh, because and the truth of the matter is now, see, you also dealing with someone who deals with hard work. I deal with your heart. So what are you trying to prove? Who are you trying to prove it to? Do you believe what you say about you? Or are you trying to get the world to tell you who you are? So when we start breaking that down, and I'm trying to figure out why you just went and spent 3 grand over the weekend when we trying to save, I had to go through those same disciplines. I had to go through those same losses. I did not heal so many wounds in me from being abandoned, from healing from abuse and all these different things that I wanted to prove to the world Hey, I'm a millionaire. Well, no, I wasn't a millionaire. I was bringing in over $1 million. So I wanted to prove that, right? But guess what? That doesn't make you a millionaire. It doesn't. And let me make sure y'all make this fair. I am not a millionaire. I want everybody to think, you know. And so when you got to do the work. So they don't. Everybody's not ready for those tough conversations.
Okay.
I didn't.
So
I
if
didn't. I didn't want to
uh,
face my accountant.
say that again.
I didn't want to face my accountant. I did not
Oh,
want to have, I did not want to hire a financial advisor. I was
yeah.
embarrassed. I was so ashamed of them looking at my bank accounts and seeing how much money I had given away,
Mm,
not spent, but given away.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing for all, especially with people of our color and races. I know years ago I sat down with a person accountant years ago, and actually the money I was making, and he was like, "Yeah, if you do this, you should have this much left over." And I'm like, I'm still like, how? Like I don't see how. But they definitely break it down for you. But it's like you said, it's when it's embarrassing to find out how much you make and then how much you, like you say, give away. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's to people or just the stuff that you probably don't even need.
Hmm.
Just spending money stupidly on stuff you don't even need. And you're like, well, if I cut back on this, then I could be good over here. So I'm
Absolutely.
gonna throw it back to Jacob before I do. This is powered by 810 Studios Roku channel, inspireradio.com, and please subscribe to our network. We just actually changed the name to 910 Sports SNE on our YouTube page. So please subscribe. If it doesn't come up like that, it may come up as 95 South Network, but either way, see, please subscribe. But back to you, Jacob.
Okay. All right. So, Java, you definitely are full of wisdom, and and you embrace the fact that you can elevate people's minds, and I can appreciate you for that. So personal development, personal growth, um, under getting people to understand what that is, and with you being a life coach, what is the process to being a great life coach, and what are the levels to helping clients understand that this is what you need. I'm going to show you how this is going to make you better. I'm just trying to get you to understand because a lot of people, when it comes to understanding something, um, it's kind of hard for them to understanding, because they have some stuff in their mind, but when you kind of break it down to them step by step, because sometimes you got to take baby steps with people. And so, what are the levels of being a successful life coach?
You have to be willing to meet people where they are, and you have to create an environment where they can feel safe enough with you to share the truths that they try so hard to cover up. We and one of the things that I'm writing, we talk about how I want to say it's 80 to 87% of communication is nonverbal. And that might be 90 to 97% of communication is nonverbal. So when someone feels safe enough with you to start opening up, you got to look at what they're not saying. And that's the first level of making a decision to actually become a coach. One of the, and here's the thing, you can go and get the certifications, you can learn how to protect clients' rights and their information. We can't be forward facing with if they're on our social media page and then start indulging something that they've shared. And oh, we have to sit back and watch. So you learn all of the good stuff over there when you're going through the training. I will say that what makes you a better coach is life. Last year, I just turned 40. Well, my 39th year. My tagline is Say Yes to You. I am constantly coaching women on healthy boundaries. And I had a mirror sit in front of me and it was called life. And they was like, oh, yeah, you need to work on your boundaries. So that was very challenging for me to see that I had allowed so many things and so many people to just flow in and out of my life effortlessly. And I had not had the mindset or the courage enough to say this, I'm not allowing this anymore. So I went through a season of just learning a deeper level of self love, a deeper level of grief, a deeper level of saying yes to myself and commitment. And that is what is and has made me a better coach. It makes me understand exactly how hard it is to let some things go when your mind has conditioned you that this is what you must accept. And the truth of the matter is, it isn't.
Okay, then. So you went through this season where you had to fall in love with yourself again.
Not in love with myself. I had to meet a different version of myself.
Okay.
Yes, I
Okay.
had to meet a different version of myself. I had to um, remove all the accolades. You remove all the awards. You remove all the good stuff and all that stuff, and you have to sit with yourself and you have to say, do you know who you are, and are you living up to who you see yourself as? That introduces you to a newer version of yourself every time. And I mean every time. So if you did it this week and you journaled and you documented and then you went back, by next Monday, you should have another version of yourself manifesting. You should see, okay, I have applied a new principle that has become clear to me, and I see it doing the work in my life. So it's not so much about not loving yourself. I love myself great. I'm very proud of myself. I really did some really hard work to become the person that I became. But there was just this level of yes that I had to get to. And I had to learn that that was going to require me to say no to a lot of other people and a lot of other things, and yes to myself, financially, spiritually, emotionally, friendships, relationships. I had to start saying no to a lot of things. And so that was enlightening because it showed me how to reach a different level of exactly what I teach. Say yes to you.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. So mm, with you being a life coach, this is a two-part question. Um, when somebody comes to you with an identity crisis and they also have family trauma,
Mm,
um, and there's a whole bunch of people, that I've experienced in walking through my daily journey in life that goes through those battles, and they really know how to hide them very well.
mm.
But coming to somebody like yourself, how do you get them to open up? Because that seems like a closed off section when it comes to a lot of people's daily lives.
So one of the things that we have to do when you do it, when we do a intake call, is I have to ask you what do you want to work on. We can't work on 10 different things, but I also want to be clear. I'm a life coach who has a therapist. And so I very much encourage therapy. There are some traumas that you have to unpack at a higher level in which my capacity reaches, which means that I can't diagnose you. I can tell you that this is giving me signs of this. And I think that you should go and talk to a therapist so that we can see that. But I also have a little bit more freedom than a therapist. I can tell you, yeah, you crazy as hell. What are you doing? What are we doing this for? Like, so therapists sit, but they can't direct. I have the ability to direct, I have the ability to redirect. So if someone comes and we start unpacking, and then that happens because we're focusing on mastering this one area of their life, that may be okay. Is this hindering you from what our goal is? So let's say Jay, I'm going on this journey and I'm trying to find myself. I want to start this business, but I keep having these negative conversations with myself. Every time I put myself out there, something inside of me tells me I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. Well, where did that come from? So, so what is the end goal? The end goal is I want to be able to stand boldly in what I've been called to do, or what I believe I was called to do, and not be so fearful of what others think. Okay, so now we have a journey. So then we'll go through some steps to say, what do you want to see at the end of these 8 weeks? How do you want to see yourself? What do you want? We focus on a goal. So I'm not I call myself an unlicensed therapist all the time, but there are some things that require a little bit more at a higher level of expertise in which I can speak on. But I do create a safe space for everyone to feel seen and heard. I'm a mother at nature. So I'm probably going to tell you, yeah, you need to let them go. That's not who you're becoming. I can do all of that, but our goal is to stay focused.
I don't know what happened. So,
Uh,
well,
uh,
so, oh, okay, go ahead, Jacob.
okay, so when you're in your sessions and you see people open up and they starting to focus more and so to really keep them in that space mentally and emotionally where they can just open up and you can just dig in and really get to the root of the problem. You know, what is that like for you yourself, mentally and emotionally? Because remember you helping somebody, but you also taking all their energy in, and so how do you sustain yourself to really keep yourself at that high level of energy?
I leave it where it's at.
Okay.
I definitely had to learn that. I am an empath by nature, and I am what you would call an intuitive healer. So my presence, my energy helps people feel better about themselves. It's just something that flows from me, and I walk in that, and I believe in that. But I have been, and I was very intentional about leaving it where it's at, meaning that if a person is suicidal, I recommend them to and I'm probably going to document it. Let them know, hey, if you call me with these things and I have an emergency contact, it's my duty. So we do all that in the disclaimer, right? So let's just say they're going through this session with me, or they're going through these sessions with me, and then they start to unpack and they start to open up. I have had clients go through my program 3 times. Like, okay, I'm ready to pay for the next 9 weeks. Okay, I'm ready to go pay through the next. That has been very great and very sustaining. I leave it where it's at. I have people that help me be me. So I have a very good circle. And then when life gets too hard, I do not take on more clients because I am very much human and I realize when I'm at my capacity. So that's one thing that I cannot pour from an empty cup. And so when I'm in a place where I know that I'm trying to heal or go through something, I won't open my I won't open my sessions up for any more clients for the next quarter. So I'm very, very intentional about that.
Okay, appreciate that. Icon.
So let's go back for a minute for a second. So name all the businesses again that you say that you have. I just want to hear something for. I just want to say let's hear something for a second.
Javi's Chair is my coaching business.
Mm-hmm.
Interconnected Leadership is my doula business. We have CA Whetstone Logistics, which is our logistics company, and I have Embellished Phenom Events. That's the event decor business.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that is because the whole interview, I heard how you want to service everybody else. But what I haven't heard is how does Miss Woods service herself? Like, what's the end goal for Miss Woods in your plan in your mind that whether you want to retire by 65, hand the businesses over to them 11 kids, whatever it is, what is your end goal?
Okay, so I can't share everything because I'm not. I don't want to. I don't like telling my season before my season gets here. But I do have an end goal, and it will be fully circled, centered around serving women and mothers. And I am currently in college again to push that end goal.
Okay, okay. So
And
because
that is what I tell those who know that's going to be my life's work.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Because the reason why I asked you that question is because, Jacob knows this. Sometimes you spend so much time trying to service other people and be there for other people that you lose yourself within what you're doing. And before you know it, you like you say, you're drowning. But the one thing I did like what you said was if it gets too much on you, you slow it down. I'm not gonna take on these many clients this next quarter or whatever the case may be, to not to overwhelm myself. So at the end of the day, so your husband, is he the more the logistics side, or is it all you? Was your husband like intertwined with you?
yeah, that's all over there. All of that's over there.
All that's him.
I hate everything logistics. I hate
Oh,
everything.
okay. So is he
Everything.
like over the road driving, or he just runs the company?
Both. I'm just more so HR. So
Gotcha,
that's my
gotcha.
background, and that's why I hate it. So
Yeah, like they hate it.
yeah,
So yeah, because you the one that got to deal with the drivers when they mad. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. That is very much so. And drivers are they who gonna pay the most, who gonna give me the most. So
Oh yeah, definitely. I was in that world. Well, I'm kind of in that world now. I do more like we call drive away type service. I
okay,
don't know if you know what that is,
no,
but
what's
that's
that?
more. That's more like when you move cars from like cars, trucks, vans, whatever, from location to location, but you actually driving the vehicles.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So I work with a company out of Georgia that I actually like, go from like we might go from like Georgia to Texas or California, and we drop a car off there, then we grab another one and go to another location or whatever the case may be. So it's a little bit. I don't know how much different challenges they have than actual the truck driving, but I do know that a lot of truck drivers themselves leave the truck driving world to do what we doing because it's less stressful and you kind of have a little bit more leeway on how you move and like you said in a truck because I try to do the truck driving thing and I didn't like it. It's like living a savage life because like you said you're living in a truck, you're always eating bad at bad restaurants because most of the truck stops is nothing but fast food, a terrible food, and then you're tired all the time and you barely being able to get home, so yeah, so that life was a little bit, I could go on and on about how I just feel like when I just looking at how they treat truck drivers. And I'm not just talking about companies. I'm talking about how society treat truck drivers, the rules and the laws with the weight stations and all this other stuff. It's like the weight station people, they worse than police sometimes.
mm,
So
mm,
I know y'all deal with it because they'll ding you for stupid stuff. You know what I mean? All the time.
yeah,
Whatever. So I know the headaches y'all dealing with over there. Got to
yeah.
be. How many trucks do y'all have?
We've just sold. Well, I think we still got there's two now. If there's been two that's been sold, we're selling a semi. So if anyone wants a Volvo, shameless plug. We got we got a Volvo we trying to sell, and it's automatic. So
Okay. So what's kind of next for your company? What's the like on the horizon that you can talk about? Any of your companies that you got brewing in the pot?
um, so my coaching, my next quarter starts mid March. Well, actually, it'll be late March. So that's the next one. So I'll start accepting clients for that next week. But I do have a few that are on the wait list for it. So I'm very grateful because we've already had our interviews. For my doula work, I'm trying to not go as heavy as I did last year. Last year was a heavy year. But one amazing thing is that when you are working with young moms, they know when somebody else pregnant, and so they be texting my phone. And I love young women. I was a young mother and a young wife, and so I instantly connect with these young ladies, and they're safe. It's no judgment. So, if at anything, I'm like, you got some plan Bs, which so we can have those really good conversations, and I'm grateful for that. So that's that. Everything else I can't really speak on right now. So
Okay. Well, I will say this too. With you and your husband, what state are y'all in?
we live in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay, you could do it there. So I would say, if logistic wise, if y'all wanted to do something, I tell people this all the time: get into the medical transportation business. What I mean by that is taking people to doctor's appointments. For one, when you talk about businesses that would probably be considered a top five business that will never go out of style, because I hate to say it like this, but they get sicker, they're not getting healthier. So people got to go to doctor's appointments every day. Even during COVID, those people still had to go to those dialysis clinics and all the other stuff every day. And it's a very lucrative business. I even heard Pusha T, the rapper, when he was on the Breakfast Club one time, and they said, "Well, what's your most lucrative business outside of the hip hop money, the rap money?" And he said, "The medical transportation." He had 8 vans, and the fact that y'all already have the insurance and y'all have everything lined up, it'd be an easy transition for y'all if y'all wanted to get into that. I think you and this company, it's a company. I think every state has one that does it, but it's a company that you can go through for all your work. You just have to have either like two like minivans, or you could have your best way to get is like a van with a wheelchair lift, or a bus with a wheelchair lift, like a mini bus, like almost one of those like a daycare type size bus.
Mm-hmm.
You get one of those with the wheelchair lift in them, you can make a boatload of money. You can get you a couple of good drivers, and you can make a lot of money doing that. And all that goes through Medicaid. That's all Medicaid.
Yep.
I would say if y'all wanted to do a transition out of truck driving, because I've heard people say they do good, but I've heard a lot of people say that truck driving is not what it used to be, that business. So that would be something out. That's just my piece of advice if you wanted to always transition to something else.
Thank
You
you.
know,
I made a note of it.
yeah, yeah. So look into it. I'm not sure. I know in Georgia, it's Verada. I think the company's called Verada, Verida. It used to be Southeast Trans in Georgia, so I'm not sure in North Carolina what the company that does it, but I know like in Georgia they pretty much have the monopoly on it, so you have to go through them for the most case. You can have some private contracts, but for the most part, the bulk of your money will go through one of those companies like that you will go to pick up people from. Because I actually worked for a company one time where they had just started up and they got all their work, and actually they have too much work. Like they actually shorthanded all the time because they don't have enough
Hmm.
drivers and companies that actually do this. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So I would definitely look into it if I was y'all.
Okay.
But anyway, I appreciate you coming on tonight, giving us your
Absolutely.
time, just educating us, because the one thing we try to do on this show is educate people, especially us as Black and brown people who don't
Absolutely.
necessarily understand how to start a business and or whatever. And like you said, at the end of the day, it's about the work that you put into it more than anything else. Because you can get the knowledge, but you still got to put the work in. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So I appreciate you coming on, giving us the time. And
Thank you.
I'm just amazed when you said 11 kids, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, or whatever, still looking like you 30, 25 years old.
Thank
You know what I'm
you.
saying? That's amazing. So I commend you, and anything we can do to be a assist to you, I mean, you can reach out to old brother Jacob over here. We'll do whatever we can to help you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
All
guys
right.
for having me. I appreciate it.
You're
No
welcome. You're
problem.
welcome.
You have a blessed and wonderful week.
You too.
All right.
All right, blessings.
Brown skin girl, and she knew I was out to go and clear my mind. The girl she's